Sometimes you feel lost, confused, and overwhelmed. It's not because you lack motivation, it's because you lack structure. Structure defined is to plan, organize, or arrange the parts of something. Without structure, you find yourself at a standstill, neither moving forward nor moving back. You don't know what to do, and as a result, you don't make any progress. In order to reach your goals, you need to structure your life. In order to achieve this, we need to look at an example: a tree. A tree has four main parts: the roots, the trunk, the branches, and the leaves. Now, relating this to us, we can envision this as the foundation, the work, the systems, and the result. To structure life first, you need to start at the base and build from there. To withstand struggles, distractions, and temptations, just like a tree, you're going to have to first build a strong foundation. For the tree, that's its roots, but for us, that's our underlying center, which is what we believe to be the most important and what keeps us motivated. The strongest trees are strong not only because of their deep roots, but also because of their resistance. Trees actually grow strong because of the resistance to the environment. Things such as wind, gravity, drought cause the tree to adapt and strengthen it. A tree grows from its roots out. It doesn't start as a sturdy tree. Just like us, to get where we desire, it requires a starting point. So wherever base you start on is crucial. A foundation not only gives stability, it also provides guidance as well as the capacity for growth. The stronger the base, the more you can expand, grow, and upgrade. The same applies vice versa. The weaker the base, the more it's prone to failure, setbacks, and destruction. So in order to set yourself up right, you have to do it at the beginning. This ensures that in the future, you will stand the storm and be strengthened by it. There are numerous things you can be founded on: money, status, pleasure, control. Now, they don't all have to be bad, but these are examples and are the most recognizable. Starting with the most common one is money. Money, it helps you live better. It's a measure of status. You're supposed to work. Can't be without money. So money should be my priority, right? It's sometimes the default thinking, but that wake up thinking isn't correct. Money is like sand, no substance. It's created out of thin air. It's vast. The more you grasp, the more it slips through your fingers. No matter how much sand you grasp, you can't get all of it. And this is just one of the issues for people who are founded on money. They don't know the word enough. There is no rope to keep you grounded, no post to stop. You are being in a constant state of obsession. There are people who have more than enough money. They can't even spend it in a lifetime, and they still continue seeking more, even if it's through immoral or illegal methods. They just can't get enough. Psychology of money illustrates a story about the effects of not knowing enough. If expectations rise with results, there is no logic in striving for more because you'll feel the same after putting in extra effort. It gets more dangerous when the taste of having more money, more power, more prestige increases ambition faster than satisfaction. You feel as if you're falling behind, and the only way to catch up is if you to take greater and greater amounts of risk, even if it's at the expense of others. If your identity is tied to money, what do you think happens when you lose it? You feel that you've disappeared too. Yourself. If it's up to be, it's up to me is a common phrase. I can rely only on myself. Independence is good to a certain extent till it goes too far. Regardless of what some self-help may say, we are social creatures, and the effects of loneliness on the human is evident. Depression, substance abuse, stress, anxiety, increased risk of death. Hyper-independence implies an excessive desire to do everything independently, even when assistance is available. Over time, this can lead to selfishness. You only view the world and how it impacts you. Your security constantly changes and shifts. When you succeed, you feel good, and when you make mistakes, you feel bad. Since you don't use other people's strengths, you remain stagnant, only growing and acting to your own resources. God. That's the only foundation that ensures that you don't fall. Everyone who hears these words in mind and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat on the house. But it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. The foundation comes with something higher than yourself. Unlike most of the other centers, he is unchanging, a set of morals and principles that don't waver. Other things can go up and down and disappear, but the Lord remains the same. Not only does he set the tone of your values, but also your direction. It changes how you think, walk, act. Everything else eventually falls, but the Lord is eternal. When you root yourself in God, you activate your potential. The Lord is strong. Not only can you rely on him, you can learn from him, grow with him, and trust him. There's an ease and comfort you get when you take refuge in the Lord. With the location. Now that you have the right roots, you need to identify if you are in the right place. Remember, a tree grows stronger based on its environment. So based on your goals, you need to make sure you are in the right environment. A place that aids your goals, not hurts them. In order to make sure of that, you need to identify your goals clearly. What do you want to accomplish? Who do you want to be? A simple way is to break it down into categories: health, finance, work, social life, family life, love life, etc. Rate each category out of 10. Where do you rate yourself currently? And where would you like to be? Actually take the time to identify. This is important. What do you want? How do you want to live? What type of qualities do you want? You want to make sure the ladder you're climbing is leaned on the right wall. Lack of clarity is a big killer of goals. Spending 80% of the time figuring out what to do instead of doing something. There are so many things out there. Should you use the calendar? What is the best way to optimize? You just need to set a priority and organize your efforts and hoard it up and create a plan. Create roles for yourself, whether it be business owner, student, father, and then create goals you would like to have accomplished for the specific role or that week. For example, you get a piece of paper. For the week, you write down each role that you have in your life and what role you would like to improve at, such as student, for example. Then for a goal for the student, it may be to finish your algebra test. Now, then you can organize your days, create time blocks, and fit in what needs to be done. After identifying your goals, there should be things that you need to do daily, whether that be work on your business, work out, study, etc. A set of non-negotiables are essential in growth. Make sure you are always working towards your goals so the compound effect works. In order to make progress, you have to be consistent. The key to making a good task list can be broken down to 3 simple rules. Number 1, make it clear. No big notions like study. Study what? Is it math? What type of math? Is it algebra? Calculus? Make the task at hand clear and understandable. Number 2, duration. How long are you going to do the task? Some things take longer than others, so allocate the right amount of time needed for each task. Number 3, accomplishment. How do you know when you successfully finish the task? If it was just studying algebra for 30 minutes, that's fine, but if it's activity oriented, identify it. For example, one might be to finish writing the script. I like the Pomodoro technique because it has good balance. Personally, I do the 30-10, which means 30-minute work with 10-minute breaks, and if you finish the task early, you can enjoy the rest of the time as the break. Make sure you understand the difference between urgency and importance. Something could be important but not urgent, and something could be urgent but not important. For example, you get a text that draws your attention away from work, and it turns out the text is just spam. Compare this to you have an essay due, but it's not due until the end of the month. That's important, but not urgent. Understand this rule before you start organizing your results. You sow what you reap, so you have to make sure you're planting some good seeds. Now that you're putting in the work, make sure the work and actions you do actually contribute towards where you want to be. Progress is built on consistency. Before the fruit ripens and is ready for consumption, it starts as a baby fruit and grows. Spend most of your time doing the important things. Since you've identified who you want to be and what you want to do, all that's left is the actions. Break down all your goals and review your progress. Now, some things have to compound to see real progress, so you have to be patient and grow the progress. In order to structure your life, you have to start taking action. That's the best solution. You learn as you go, and not only are there books, there are guides, strategies to optimize your plan. Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. It doesn't matter that it was the best move. Sometimes it's just the move itself. You learn by doing, so stop hesitating and go.